Newsweek, penis enlargements are ineffective and risky. Leave men at mercy of charlatans, study finds. Systematic review of surgical and non-surgical interventions in normal men complaining of small penis size. The team looked at 17 existing studies on 21 procedures marketed as extender treatments, including non-surgical approaches like vacuum devices and injectables. Surgeries including grafting fat onto the genitalia and suspensory ligament incision, where the cut is made above the band tissue that attaches the organ to the pubic bone. A total of 1,192 men who had healthy penises were involved in the study. While some men said they saw a significant increase in their penis size, many experienced complications, the study revealed.
Yeesh.
The vast majority of series reported normal penile size. Among non-surgical treatments, extenders increased flaccid length, but by less than 2 centimeters. Injectables increased girth, but were associated with high complication rate, and vacuum devices did not increase size. Surgical interventions included suspensory ligament incision, the most commonly used method, tissue grafting, flaps, and penile disassembly. Some men reported a significant size increase, however, complications were not infrequent, and none of the techniques was externally validated. When provided, counseling was effective, with the majority of men coming to understand their penis was normal and unwilling to undergo any further treatment.
Yeah, this is so unhealthy that men feel so worried about their penis size.
Penis thing?
Yeah.
I've listened to sexologists for years. They all say the same thing. Men are super insecure about their penises, and they have nothing to be insecure about. The penis is fine. If you know,
it's about foreplay too, and the connection, not just how big a penis is, and it's how you use it. Also, there are other ways to pleasure people.
Yep. Foreplay is great.
Mouth, fingers, toys, plenty of options.
Foreplay should begin after the last time you had sex.
Whoa.
So the foreplay starts as soon as you're done getting the clothes on, smack the butt. Grab something.
If you want some relationship advice,
ask healthytalkshow.com.
Yeah, the love Dr. Robert is here.
I will help the world. I will help the world. I will. I'm going to try my best. Inverse. UK couples are having less sex. Not happy about this.
Yeah.
Changes in factors associated with the frequency of sex in Britain. Evidence from 3 national surveys of sexual attitudes and lifestyles authored by Kay Wellings, PhD, a professor at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine, uses survey data from over 34,000 British men and women aged 16 to 44 to show that less than 50% of men and women had sex at least once per week in 2012. Digging deeper, she found that the amount of sex people report per month had been declining since 2011 in all age groups except males between 16 and 24. And we actually have her speaking about this. Let's take a listen.
The National Surveys of Sexual Attitudes and Lifestyles is a deep look into the sex lives of us Brits. And it's been running now for 30 years, giving us some longitudinal data about ways in which those sex lives have changed. The latest paper to be published, based on that data, looks at the frequency of sex, how often different groups are having sex on a weekly basis.
Is that different countries are seeing declines, and they're seeing declines in sexual frequency in different populations. So in Japan, it's among young people. In Finland, middle-aged men are the only group amongst whom there's been an increase in sexual frequency. All others have seen a decline.
How does that work?
Well, I have to ask a man called Osmo Contulo. In the States, they've seen a decline in actually becoming sexually active, whereas we've seen a decline in sexual frequency among the sexually active. So it's not a question in this country of increasing people being celibate. It's a question of a decrease in the frequency among those who are sexually active.
One more clip.
But the midlife group are interesting because this is the group that people have been describing as the U-bend generation. And by that they mean a group under quite a bit of pressure, facing quite considerable challenges, which stem from changes in society. So they're having children later, so they've got childcare issues, they're often both working, they may have parents who are getting elderly, and then they've got leisure to fit in somewhere along there. And so they're juggling those things. And it's called the U-bend, or the sandwich generation, U-bend being the dip that people have found between happiness in youth, a slight dip in midlife, and then happiness, satisfaction with life, rises again at 60 apparently. So this group, these midlifers are pressurised. And when we did some qualitative work amongst midlife women, and we were expecting all sorts of issues to come up, these were midlife women who'd reported not being entirely satisfied with their sex lives. The most frequent theme that came up was exhaustion. The women went to bed, they said, to go to sleep. They were exhausted.
Screens in the room kill the sex life.
Yeah. Well, it's good that you bring that up, because I'm really not sure why we're seeing such drops across, all countries. Like you mentioned, it's falling in everywhere, the rates of sex.
Mm-hmm.
And the only conclusion they can kind of derive is our technology is making us so busy, we're forgetting to focus on what's important.
Yeah.
And what's important is building those connections. And, sex is really important to your mental health, too.
Yeah.
And we're not making those same connections. We're all isolated with our phones.
Good for your relationship.
Yes.
It brings you closer to whoever you're with, theoretically, usually.
Yeah. Assuming.
It's good for stress.
Yeah, it's great stress relief.
It's a great workout.
Yeah. You really need to make time for sex.
Make time for
yeah,
sex.
It's serious.
You can put it on the calendar if you need to.
No,
really
yeah.
can. It sounds unromantic, and I personally am not a fan of the idea. But if you got to do it, if you live by a calendar or a schedule, put it on the damn calendar.
Yeah.
You need to be having sex.
Yeah.
You need to be having sex.
Put yourself in bed a little bit earlier.
Yeah,
and
get
have
that
sex.
magic wand out if you're single and you're a woman, if you're a guy, whatever.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Just
get on Tinder.
Get it on. You'll feel much better after. Whoever regrets sex, unless it's
That's the thing about sex is it's like working out. You tell yourself, "Oh, that's so much work," but when you're done, you're thinking, "Man, that felt so good. I love it."
Yeah, you got all the good endorphins going. You got the
Mhm.
mood booster. That's all good.
From the chat, I'm putting it on my calendar. Oh wait, that won't work.
Put masturbation on your calendar.
Yeah, put masturbation
That's important
on your calendar.
too.
Exactly. You can fulfill that one. You are in control when you masturbate. You know who typically isn't having less sex?
Who?
People in open relationships.
Oh.
Inverse, open relationships. Study reveals why adults want it more. The study, Open Relationship Prevalence, Characteristics, and Correlates in a nationally representative sample of Canadian adults, is the first to provide a reliable report on how common open relationships are outside of the U.S. They present findings from a nationally representative sample of 2,003 Canadian adults administered in 2017 via an online questionnaire, and found that 2.4% of all participants and 4% of those currently in a relationship reported currently being in an open relationship. 1 in 5 reported prior engagement in an open relationship, and 12% reported it open as their ideal relationship type. Men compared to women were more likely to report prior open relationship engagement and to identify open as their ideal relationship type. Younger participants were more likely to both engage in and to prefer open relationships. Relationship satisfaction did not differ significantly between monogamous and open relationships. Having a match between one's actual relationship type and one's preferred relationship type was associated with a greater relationship satisfaction. Findings suggest that, while currently only a small proportion of the population is in open relationship, interest in open relationship is higher, particularly among younger adults, and openness appears to be a viable and important relationship type.
You have a clip?
I do. TEDx Love Lesson. I don't know if you want to jump into that. TEDx Love Lessons. Kathy Slaughter. As a licensed clinical social worker, Kathy Slaughter passionately pursues the craft of psychotherapy. She specializes in human sexuality, relationships, and trauma in her private practice in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Many people wonder, what's wrong with me? How am I broken? What did I do wrong? Why can't I make it work? Why can't I find the one? What did I do wrong this time? And they end up on my office couch, full of despair, completely convinced they are so fatally flawed, they will never find love. But I suggest to you that the issue is not with them and their individual flaws, that the issue is with our collective notion of what love and romance looks like, acts like, and ought to be. And that furthermore, we are so steeped in these collective ideas of romance that we can't see the forest for the trees. And we are poorly positioned to understand what is in fact wrong with our collective ideas about love and romance. Now, in private practice, working with LGBTQA folks and others who live outside the mainstream, I learned about consensual non-monogamy.
Ooh, consensual non-monogamy. Different types of relationships.
Yeah.
How many of you have ever heard of polyamory, swinging, or open relationships? All right, a few of you. For the rest of you, the definition is in the name. It's consensual, which means everyone's talked about it, everyone's agreed to it, they know who's dating who.
That's
which
important.
makes it entirely distinct from cheating because there's no element of betrayal. And it's not monogamous, which means there's no expectation of sexual exclusivity and possibly no expectation of emotional exclusivity either. As you can see on this slide, the types and styles of open relationships varies
This is a crazy
to an
chart.
astonishing.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I still don't know how they kind of came up with this. 'Cause
Yeah.
there's like boxes of
I know. Where are the sizes? You know,
Yeah.
the size.
Where's the? I need like XY coordinates.
Yeah, why are these? Yeah, it's just cool shapes.
Yeah.
Degree. They range from what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas kinds of arrangements, all
Cheating.
the way to co-spouses living together in a joint marriage.
Wow. So she goes into 3 lessons that she's learned in her experience with talking to people about alternative relationships. Lesson 1, NRE.
The first lesson I'd like to share with you is about new relationship energy, or NRE. Recent neuroscience has shown that when we first meet someone and start to fall in love, our brain produces this powerful neurochemical cocktail that makes us feel really good. Like, out of your mind good. And this effect lasts for 6 months up to 2 years. Now, in open relationships, NRE is really important because they're trying to maintain an existing relationship alongside this new one that's basically giving them the equivalent of a hit of meth every time they see their new partner. But what does it mean for the rest of us? Well, for us, it means that when you first start dating someone, it's going to feel fantastic at first. And furthermore, we have no business making lifelong commitment promises while we're still under the influence of NRE.
Dang.
Because you're not in your right mind, and you can't
It's
make
true.
an informed choice.
I call that the honeymoon phase.
Yeah.
I tried, in my dating experience, I always try to phase that one out. I don't like the honeymoon phase. So it's first date. Oh, by the way, here's my baggage. What? Cut to the chase.
That's
my
true.
style. Don't recommend it. It's not the best style. But I do get some interesting. I have had interesting results in the past. Lesson 2.
My next lesson from open relationships, and that's about the value of informed choices. Because in the same way that many of us subscribe to this life partner that will fulfill us forever, we also often follow this unconscious script that we call the relationship escalator. Boy meets girl, they go on a
Look at
Yes.
that relationship escalator.
Yeah. You're
Yeah, that's good.
everyone expects you
Yep.
to follow that. As soon as you get
First meeting, first date,
Yeah.
the talk, sex, proposal, marriage, house, kids. Yep.
few dates, they have sex, they start to fall in love,
Mhm.
they have the talk and decide they're exclusive, they move in, someone proposes, marriage, house in the suburbs, kids, happily ever after, right?
Yeah, I would say the sex happens before the talk in most relationships now, unfortunately.
The trouble is, not everyone wants that relationship escalator outcome. And even if you do, you might not entirely agree on what each of these stages mean and what kind of behavior is expected. Let me give you an example. Let's go back to the talk. You've decided you're exclusive. Well, what does that mean? At a minimum, it means no one's having sex with anyone else. But that leaves a lot of other things up to interpretation.
Yeah. Can you look at
So
women?
I encourage you, when you get into a
I
relationship,
edited out a story. She gave a hypothetical or a
Yeah.
real story, but I took it out.
to stop and think Get clear with yourself about your needs, your wants, and your expectations. And then go and talk directly to your partner about what you're looking for from love and romance, so that you can make sure you're both truly on the same page, not blindly riding the relationship escalator all the way to the top.
I like that. Not
That's
blindly riding the escalator.
It's communication.
Yeah.
It's the same
But
thing.
that's the other problem with society. Is society gives you this one idea of what a relationship should look like,
Mhm.
but that doesn't necessarily work for everyone.
Well, the issue that I've found in past relationships is when you have that standard, you're always comparing yourself to it.
Yeah, that's
So,
also true.
their wedding was so much nicer. We have to have
Yeah.
Why do we need a wedding?
Or they're popping out babies.
yeah,
Why-
I need to pop out babies.
Yeah.
Oh, they just bought a house. Why aren't we buying a house?
But
Yeah, society's traumatized.
Yeah,
That's
it's
why they
true.
elected Donald Trump.
yeah, but that's also
Apparently.
why maybe we need to explore other types of relationships, and
Mhm.
we're
Maybe.
talking about how
Yeah.
everyone's so stressed and they can't afford to support themselves. And
Yeah.
maybe there's other
There's
arrangements.
not enough time for sex, so maybe
Yeah.
just having a buddy that you could trust.
Yeah,
Stop by their house, have sex with them.
yeah.
watch some
There's nothing wrong with
Netflix
that.
and chill. It's all good.
Just as long as you're open and you're communicating your
Consenting.
needs
Yes.
and your
Honesty.
expectations.
Yes. Last lesson.
And now we come to my last lesson for today from open relationships. And I am not about to tell you that you should be so open-minded your partner can have sex with whoever they want.
Well.
Why not?
I am about to tell you about the importance of outside interests and hobbies in your romance and your relationships. Relationship expert Esther Perel tells us that the erotic energy in a relationship comes from the distance and the differences between us and the one we love. That the energy is born in that gap between you and your partner and your desire to close it and to be intimate. Now, if your partner is attached to your hip all the time, there is no distance and there will be no erotic charge. So when your boy wants to go play poker or your girl wants to go have some drinks with her friends, keep in mind that that time apart is good for you, it's good for them, and it's good for your relationship. In short, outside friendships, outside hobbies, outside interests are not a threat.
That's right.
What kind of friends is she talking about? You know?
Well, that's true. Not always a threat. That's
Ask at healthytalkshow.com.
you will be surprised how many jealous people are out there.
Yeah. I was going to say that, people sometimes need to self-reflect as to why they don't want to be in open relationships or why
Yeah.
that is so threatening.
Yeah. People need to figure out what
Yeah.
they want and just make that clear.
Yeah. But people are also very jealous and
Yeah. And then what happens, we've had people come to us where they want the relationship to be open and their partner doesn't. And
Yeah.
what do you do then? Well, follow your dreams. Do what you
I don't know, you have to compromise
Yeah,
or
something.
either you guys can share a partner or not, or I don't know.
Yeah.
But again, that goes into you should communicate upfront of what you're expecting in the relationship, because sometimes we hear from people that have
Mhm.
been married
Mhm.
they wanted something else.
Yep. And no, it's a little too late.
Yeah, and then that's rough because now you're stuck in a marriage with your escalator kids, and
Mhm.
it's rough.
It is.
Everyone needs therapy and self-reflection.
Yes.
and meditation
And more sex.
Definitely.
Thanks for tuning in. Reach out to us. Ask at healthytalkshow.com, Instagram and Twitter, Healthy Talk Show. Drop the W. Leave us a voicemail at 509-878-3229 and healthytalkshow.com/Discord. Love and light.
Love and light.
Thank you so much for watching. For more Healthy Talk Show, please consider subscribing to our podcast over at healthytalkshow.com/subscribe. It's free. Twitter and Instagram at Healthy Talk Show. Drop the W. We record the podcast live Mondays at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time over at healthytalkshow.com/live. Love and light.